Mac, are you there? You're in Italy. Can you hear us?
Yeah, mate, I've got you loud and clear.
We seem to have some problems getting hold of Lee. I think he's in a boat in Croatia. Lee, well, that looks like a visitor from Australia.
Wow.
Hey, boys, what's going on?
Crosswise.
Yeah, you're
Mate, fellas.
This is a shambles, Rick.
This guy here, Lee.
All right, let's just roll titles.
Congratulations, you made it. Welcome to the Sports Cafe. It's been a long time coming, yo. But I'm here now. So what you want to do? Huh? How many dudes you really know can rock this show? Like this. Like this. Like this. Come on, Marc Ellis, let's do it. How many dudes you know roll like this? How many dudes you know flow like this? Not many, if any. Not many, if any. How many dudes you know got the skills to go and rock a show like this? I don't know anybody.
Welcome to the...
Still a great song, isn't it?
It is a great song. That's actually the first time I'd ever heard it was when we played it on the show. Welcome to the TAB. A little bit out of touch. Welcome to the TAB Sports Cafe-ish. We've got Marc Ellis in Italy and Matty Johns joining us from Australia.
Woohoo.
Hey, boys.
G'day, Matty.
Hey, Scarfy, listen, mate, I only come on podcasts as a number one. So, yeah.
Sorry, I'll just redo that again. Welcome to Sports Cafe. We've got Matty Johns and his long-lost brother, Marc Ellis. Like, I'm convinced you guys were separated at birth or something.
Oh, yeah.
There's some similarities. There's no doubting that. He was just telling me about some of the challenges. I'm in Italy, as you know, Rick. I've literally just run from the police station. Long story. Let's not go there. It was a long wait for the bus, and I really wanted to get away from there. Something to do with my daughter. She's just got married to a guy called Gregorio, and I didn't know. It was a bit of a surprise. Didn't take the news so well. She's only 6.
How old is she?
She's 6.
Oh, yeah.
But they do things differently over here.
Is that legal in
It
Italy?
started apparently with holding hands in class, and then he started writing love letters and poems, and now she's informed me that she's married. It's not the reason I was at the police station. There's another reason for that. But
yeah. Well, it is a sports show, so I thought I'd give you some updates because you've been away, Macca. So the All Blacks just beat England. Lulu Sun, the Kiwi tennis player, has gone through to the quarterfinals, and the Warriors got robbed on the week. What do you think of that, Matty?
How smell surprise.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That's a tough one. You know, when they were beaten so convincingly a couple of weeks ago, I thought, oh, geez, there's their season. But they bounced back pretty good. But, yeah, I'm with you. They were certainly robbed on the weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Another bad refereeing decision. Is that the gist of it?
There was a late tackle that wasn't picked up in the game. The bunker looked at it, decided to do nothing about it, and then it would have been a penalty pretty much in front to win the game. But what happened was 2 days later, the referees go, actually, it was something wrong, and we'll give him 2 weeks suspension.
We've got Matty on the show. It's a good time to ask because everyone in New Zealand goes, nah, you know, it actually looks like we do get a bad rub. You know, and do you think that happens? Do you think the Kiwi teams or the Warriors get it a bit harsh?
Oh, Scaffy, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I know that there's the old Kiwi-Aussie rivalry, and most of it is in good fun. But mate, the love for the Warriors over here, I tell you, it's huge. I mean, watching them have a difficult season, a lot of the fans over here are heartbroken. But I'll say this. If I had a wish of any team to win the competition this year, I'd pick the Warriors, even over my Newcastle. It's just been such a great story, the Wars, and the way they conducted themselves over here during COVID was quite unbelievable. And then the season they had last year, it's a real shame what's happened this year. It's funny, I reckon watching them play after the first few rounds, in an effort to probably progress their football, you know, they just went away from the things that they had them winning games last year and got them into the finals.
Hey, Matty, your thoughts on the two halves pairings for the Warriors these days? You've got Tomato Martin's really stepped up since he's really come back in, and Chanel Harris-Tavita, he's a bit of a tackle dog at the moment. They're finding to break the line quite easy, especially with Tomato Martin's passing game. What's your thoughts? Do you think teams will just catch on to it as the season goes on?
Well, a lot of that's got to do with Chanel. By the way, it's good to see him back in the game. I really felt for him a couple of years ago when he said, I just need to get away from the pressure for a while, but he's really come back strong. Yeah, a lot of that's got to be up to Chanel. He's got to provide the variation. If you'd have a look last year with Sean running the side, put ball playing around, but Metcalf, Lou Metcalf, he was the yin to the yang. His running game, he was primarily a runner of the football, and so that combination worked. I'm blown away by the fact that Sean and Tamara can't form combination. That's been a strange one.
Sorry, Matty, can I just apologise, Aaron? Can you never ask a serious sports question on the show
Sorry,
again? What's going on? We've done this show for 15 years. It's the most serious, intelligent question we've
I know,
ever asked.
Aaron, I thought I was coming on a fun show. It's like I've been interrogated.
What about
Mark started it?
Are you you did some coaching, didn't you? Is it Melbourne and stuff?
Yeah. Okay, just go with me here for 3 minutes. It's a story. This is the story of why I got sacked from the Melbourne Storm. Well, it was about 6 years ago, and my wife. Look, it starts sad, but it's got a happy ending. My wife got very, very sick, and during that time, when she was getting treatment, I decided, you know what, I'll do a little bit as well and support and get off the drink for 9 months, which was horrible. Anyway, one day I woke up one day and Trish said, you know what, you've been the perfect prisoner. Why don't you go call a couple of your mates and head down to your local? And I was like, and the excitement, you got no idea. And I'm walking down the hill and I'm going past Manly Oval, and honestly, I'm on a mission. I'm going to drink the joint dry. And I hear this, "Oi, Matty," and I look over and there's Craig Bellamy and a few of the players. I said, what are you blokes doing in Manly? He said, mate, we're playing Manly tonight. I said, oh, Jesus, that's right. They said, mate, how are your two sons going? I said, mate, they're good. They're only young fellas then. He said, listen, the boys miss you. They haven't seen you for a while. Why don't you and the boys come down into the sheds after the game and see us? And I said, yeah, fantastic, see you there. I had no intention because, mate, I'm going down to the pub and I'm just going to smash myself. Anyway, I'd been down there about 5 or 6 hours and I was well on the way to drinking the joint dry, and I thought, I'll stumble on home. So I go up the hill, and when I get up into the house, my youngest bloke, Cooper, who ended up playing with the Storm, said, Dad, the Storm are playing tonight. Can we go? Now, at that point, I was that pissed. I actually should have said, no, I'm being irresponsible. Yeah, absolutely not. But instead, I called a taxi. And but as I'm about to walk out the door, Brookvale Oval used to be one of these grounds that if you wanted to get a beer, you had to line up for half an hour. So I thought, what am I going to do here? So anyway, I do what any responsible father did. I went through the bottler and bought myself a bottle of vodka and snuck it down my pants, right? Anyway, we go into the ground. We went on the family hill because I hang around all the drunks. And every time Manly scored and everyone cheered, I'd pull out the bottle and have a bit of a sneaky swig. Anyway, it's an awful night for the Melbourne Storm. Awful. Manly just put on a clinic and they just, they smashed the Storm. Anyway, the siren goes and I'm starting to make my way out. And the youngest fellow goes, Dad, you said we're going to go down to the sheds. And I said, oh, that's right. Now, to my horror, I not only walk up the sheds, they allow me into the inner sanctum where all the players. And I can barely remember this, but I was told the next day of what happened. And Craig Bellamy's addressing the team and giving it to him. Anyway, I chime in and say, oh, yeah, good one, mate. You should have done more of this. And come on, take it easy on him, old man, et cetera, et cetera. And they're all sitting there apparently staring back at me. Anyway, I pulled the bottle of vodka out and put it into a Gatorade cup. And I walked up to Billy Slater and said, come on, Billy, have a swig. And he said, Jesus Christ, Matty, it's half time. I woke up in the morning and my wife said, how's the game? And I did one of those sort of empty answers. I went, it was good. And then the younger fellow walked in and just reminded me what had happened. And after that, I've never been invited back to the Melbourne Storm.
Oh, it's great when it happens in front of your children. That's the bit that really gives you the demons.
Yeah, it makes you feel like a real man.
It's funny you mentioned Manly. I mean, the time when you were in playing for Newcastle, obviously Matthew Ridge was playing for Manly, and I was lucky enough to come across to Australia when he first transferred from the All Blacks to Rugby League. I want you to have a look at this footage. This is before his first game.
Is that before he got the teeth done?
Yeah, well before the teeth, mate. Yeah. Have a look
When
at
he
this.
just had the little pegs before he spent the old 50 grand on chompers.
Yeah.
It's like he's followed a piano.
Exactly, mate.
Quite often, two of you are more than too proud to work another bloke over. I understand why it happens. The fact is it happens. It's going to happen here right now. Matthew, out on your knees. Welcome to the big time, buddy. Matthew, it's you and them. Fellas, punch out of him. Give him a dead set fucking hiding. I want you to be as spiteful and as nasty and as aggressive and vindictive as you possibly can. Matthew, for 30 seconds you give all. Because this happens on the field, and whether you like it or not, those guys mean more than these guys mean. They're just going to put in as much as they can. Move in, headlock together. Heads locked together. Righto. You two guys don't give him 100% full flat on hiding. You guys go up the rope and he gets away with it. Matthew, you don't defend yourself as much as you possibly can and put in a heart-girdling effort. You go up the ropes. Give them support, fellas. They need it. Ready? Now work at it, Matthew. You work your life out. You work as hard as you can. Set! Get into him! Get into him! Take his head off, Jeff! Get off the front of him, Jeff! Take his head off! Melbourne, will you take his head? Roll off his shoulders! Matthew, work at it! Get your head down, Matthew! Work!
Are they allowed to work him in the chops?
Yeah. 10 seconds to go! 5! Work at it, Matthew! 5! 4! 3! Jeff, get up!
Oh, bring it back. More of that.
Oh,
More
man.
of that.
I saw that before. That's JK's doco. And I took it to my show and I said, boy, we've got to show this. And they said, no, it's too violent. But I tell you what, boys, when Ridgey came across, and I think it was when John Gallagher, he was sitting behind John Gallagher and he signed, and apparently they said about 3 days later, Gallagher signed to Leeds. And when Ridgey came across, mate, I reckon he'd only been probably 71, 72 kilos, but never played a reserve grade game over here. And the moment he arrived, he was unbelievable. I must say, Scarfy, some of the things he used to say on the field were, I've never heard those things before, and I never want to hear them again. He used to stand as fullback sort of close up to the line so he could abuse you all the time. But he was just about the best competitor I've ever seen in the game.
Who was some of the hardest men you played against?
Oh, I tell you what, boys, as far as the team was concerned, the greatest team that I would back against any side, even today, were the 94 Raiders. So you had Mullins, Nandruku, Nagus, Meninga, Ruben Wiki, Laurie Daly, Ricky Stewart, Bradley Clyde, Quentin Pongia, Dave Ferner, Johnny Lomax, Glenn Lazarus, and Steve Walters. So that was, honestly, when you played Canberra in those days, it was a fate worse than death. So we played them once. We played Canberra down. The week before we had a big win. We beat the Dogs 42-0, and they went on to win the comp, so we're in really good form. And we've had to play the Raiders in Canberra on a Friday night in July. So what we decided to do, rather than go down the day before the game, we'd fly in and just go hit and run. Mate, when we arrived in Canberra, there was sleet coming down and the temperature was in the minuses. Anyway, we're in the sheds before the game and we know we're about to get bashed and we're all standing around the oil heater, and there was an old groundsman called Eric Cox, and he used to bang on the door and go, "Come on, Newcastle, you're not going to win it in there." Anyway, so we're standing there, the 2-minute siren goes and Eric comes and come on, Newcastle, not going to win it in there. And Paul Harrigan turned around and said, we're not going to win it out there either.
Mate, Canberra was a horrible place to play, wasn't it? I mean, it was one of the few places in Aussie where you weren't excited to go out after a game. I remember one particular game staying, it was a town planner's dream. You know, it was just, it was horrible. Anyhow, staying in my room, and I sort of woke up feeling quite self-righteous. So I hadn't gone on the plonk that night, which was a bit rare. And I opened the windows, sunny day, and a paddy wagon pulls up. And the first person out the back was Frank Endicott, the coach. And then literally the whole team filed out. And what had happened is they'd gone to some bikie pub where a couple of weeks before, Quinton Ponga had put a $2 coin on a bloody pool table, and that was apparently the sign that you wanted to fight. And so they'd given him a bit of a roughing up. So he said, right, we're going back, this time with the whole team behind him, right? So he went back and he said to Sean Hoppy, hey, you want to go to pool, bro? He went, yeah. He said, I'll just go and put a coin up. So Choppy, who's not much of a fighter, goes and puts a coin up and gets king hit. And by this stage, the whole team's in. And apparently they did pretty well. They cleaned the bikies out, but well enough to end up in the paddy wagon. So I opened the window and they all filed out. It was unbelievable.
Mate, when we used to play you blokes, I remember we used to go to the park in the bar. And I turned up there and it was good. All the boys, Zinzan was there, Zinzan Brook, Michael Jones might have been there. Anyway, as the hours passed, things started to get a little bit sort of, the walls started closing in and you know, things are about to turn upside down. And Richie Blackmore asked Stacey Jones outside, and I thought, my God, I don't know if I want to hang around for this. But you blokes had strong sides back then. I mean, Auckland was always it was a little bit like on the field. It was a little bit like playing at Canberra. It was slippery. You had to have the long studs in, and always difficult. The Warriors, you know, when you used to play the Warriors in Australia, you'd look straight down at the draw. You go Warriors, and you put a circle around it, and go, well, even if we win, we're going to get bashed. You know, blokes like Okasini and those guys back in the day, boy, they were a handful. And, mate, Kev Iro in the centres, very good teams.
Is it true that if you didn't play rugby league, there was a chance you were going to become a coal miner?
Well, where I'm from, that's what you do. Myself and Andrew, we're the first generation not to go down the coal mines. My great-grandfather was a miner, grandfather, father. And I used to say to the old man, he said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to be a miner like you. So he took me down into the coal mines underground. And he said, what do you want to do? I said, not be a coal miner. And he said, well, mate, you better get out there and, you know, train hard and make something of yourself. And when I first left school, to be honest, if I wasn't going to make it in rugby league, my job while I was still playing rugby league at the Knights, before it became fully professional, where it was 7 days a week, 8-hour days, I was the stop-go man on Cessnock Council, which was
good money
wasn't
in
a really
danger money.
Danger money wasn't that fulfilling, Scarfy. But I tell you what, mate, when we got beat on the Sunday, and I'm standing there on the road on a Monday, and the school buses used to go past and just give it to me. I saw a balaclava and just pull it down. But look, where we're from, they call it the coal fields for a reason. Is that's what you do. You either work in the steel mill or you work in the coal mines.
We had a shocker with a stop-go guy once. We decided to when we were students, we thought we'd go on a road trip over to the West Coast, and we had a thing called sunning the underbelly, which means basically a nude road trip. So we decided to sun the underbelly, and there's three guys in a bench seat all sitting there nude, wearing floppy hats, toweling hats. And we came around the corner, and there was a stop-go guy, and it was on stop. And so we pull up. The only car within 100 kilometres it was us, right? And I'm driving, and I pull up, and I put the old visor down and pulled my head even lower, and he just poked his head in the window, and he said, bit of fun there, fellas, is it? And she just turned the fucking trigger on us.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Yeah, you can't say anything, can you? You can't just say, oh, mate, we're just students having a laugh. It's like three nude guys in a bench seat in the car. It's just like, mate, drive on through.
Mate,
just turn your fucking sign around.
Wait, when I listened to you with I don't know, can I mention opposition, between two beers? It was, mate, some of the stuff, Scarfy, you got up to when you had the fight. you had the fire engine. That was the best.
Yeah, that was good fun. That was because we had to work out, where the girls who we liked, we had to get their timetable so you could sort of remove any risk of not bumping into them. And so the fire engine came up at Turner's auction one day, and we bought it, and we got in the back. There was some bloody old suits and the silly hats, and so we formed the volunteer fire brigade. And when we worked out where the it was sort of shortening the odds. We worked out where the girls we liked were living. We'd charge them to do a flat inspection just to make sure that they had the fire safety was paramount. And then we could see their, in their room, we could see their timetable, so you could accidentally turn up outside their lecture, at the appropriate time. Needs must. No apps back then.
That's called stalking, actually.
Mate, I had something funny the other day. I was out at I was at Westfields in the city, right? Anyway, I jump in a lift, and there's a fella in there, and anyway, he goes to me.
How do I know this is going downhill?
Yeah, I know. There's a bloke who works at Westfield, and he's operating the lifts. Anyway, I jump in there. He goes, "You're that Matty Johns," and I wasn't having that good a day, so I said, "No, I'm not, mate." And he goes, "Geez, you look like him." And I said, "No, I get that all the time." And he goes, "Mate, you sure? You sure you don't?" I said, no, mate, I'm not, I just look like him. And he's like, "Oh, that's interesting." Anyway, I leave, and anyway, about a week later, I go back, hop in the lift, and there he is again. And he says to me, "Are you that Matty Johns?" And I said, "You know what, mate, you got me, I am." He said, "You wouldn't believe it." He said, "I had your brother in here last week. What a fucking rude fucker he is."
Brilliant. Hey, we'll just quickly going to go to an ad break. So if we just go to an ad break, we'll come back in a minute.
Hey, you, Baldy. Yes, you. Sick of being the bald guy? Are you sick of the same old wigs and toupees? A catskin toupee is the answer to your dreams. Say to baldness. Hasselhoff Tabby, James Coburn White, Alvis Black, sideburns not included, Bouffant Burmese. That's right, genuine New Zealand-made catskin toupees. But wait, there's more. For you crazy guys, there's a new Feral Fantastic. It's wild. Brrr. Hear from some satisfied customers.
This is growing over the season, and it's going to be exciting for years to come.
Brrr. Remember, we now have for you gingers a new Ginger Rogers Ginger. So say to boldness with a casket toupee today.
That one suits you there, Rick.
Yeah, actually, I quite like that one.
That's good. I can't remember that. When did that come on?
That was during the show that you were on for about 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think you remember much from the show, actually, now, Mark.
Yeah.
No, well, I will today because I'm drinking water.
What about the state of origin? The state of origin, Matty. How's that going to play out?
Oh, boys, it's going to be massive. The lead into this one, leading into game 2, there was a few shots across the bow. It's funny. Billy Slater, boys, has always been a really happy-go-lucky guy. And the intense pressure of state of origin, I reckon I've seen it with Freddie, Laurie Daly, seen it with a couple of Queensland coaches. By year 3, mate, everything changes. They start to get narky. Of course, journos will ask sometimes naive questions, and Billy's been biting at it. And there's plenty going on, but mate, honestly, it will be enormous this third game up at Suncorp Stadium. Honestly, if you go to a state of origin. You haven't been to a state of origin till you've been one in Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium. It's unbelievable. It's so hostile. It is awesome.
Hey, Matty, can I ask, when Mark was playing rugby league, obviously I wasn't alive when he was playing rugby league, but would he have made a state of origin team?
Well, he made the All Blacks, so... Although I do remember...
Mate, we played State of Origin. Do you remember when the Kiwis came over and it was a try? They did three teams? So it was only happened for 1 year.
Super League.
And in Super League, yeah. And so, I mean, it was a bit weird. And
that's right. That's right.
I think we almost beat Brisbane, and we scored a try in the last minute to win it. And they disallowed the try. because obviously you couldn't have the Kiwis in the final.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was an absolute try. If you can dig that up, it was, we were just going, oh, mate, we got absolutely Jimmy there.
I remember you, Scarfy, playing. I'll never forget when the All Blacks, what World Cup was it? What was it, 95? I don't know. It was a great World Cup. Anyway, I remember someone said, mate, Marc Ellis has scored about 8 tries. I said, Jesus Christ, who did they play against? I said, Japan. I went, okay.
Well, Japan beat South Africa, and my son saw it, and he was about 6, and I said, yeah, they've always been a good side, son.
Talking of All Blacks, you played with Johnny Schuster in Newcastle?
Oh, man, what a legend, Shuey. I was telling you, Blaze, before, I'll share it with people now, is that Johnny Shu, I used to wonder all the time, when he used to walk with this gait, this limp. And one day we're playing the Dogs at Belmore Oval, and I was always thinking, what is it? Is it his hip or his knee? And as he's lining up a conversion, I have a look down at his feet, and on his left foot, he's got Asics moulded studs, and on his right foot, he had the Mizuno big screw-ins, right, because he had the big right foot sidestep, and which was the reason why he was limping all the time. But, mate, it was funny, when he came to Australia, because as he was the first superstar of the Knights, the fact that we had this All Black coming over to play was a huge buzz in Newcastle. And when he landed at Newcastle Airport from Auckland, all the newspapers were there, the TV, and one of the TV reporters had the microphone, and he said, Johnny, it's fantastic to have you here. Have you seen rugby league before? And he said, oh, not much, but I just hope it's not as tough as it looks on TV.
Surprise.
Yeah. But the first year he struggled to adapt. They played him a few different positions, and he just couldn't find his niche. They tried him at fullback. He ended up finishing the year in reserve grade. But the next season, he was unbelievable. Every time he got the ball in his hand, the crowd would just go nuts and shoo, shoo, shoo. He was, he was a great player. He, we had a few, like I played, I didn't get to play, I think I played a trial game with Tanu Umaga. Tana came across in 1991, got homesick and said to the club he wanted to leave, and I think one of the coaches said, I didn't think he was going to make it anyway. Ended up being the most capped All Black, so that was the wrong decision.
I think Frank Bunce came over as well to Newcastle. But
yeah, Frank in the first year. Yeah, he came in the first season. The Knights were entering the first season, 1988. He came across. He was very good. Some of the players who came across from the All Blacks players, like you blokes, I reckon, adapted better to rugby league than a lot of the Wallabies boys. Although the Wallabies had a win. Geez, Wales must be going bad.
Yeah, well, actually, the All Blacks also had won by 1 point, and I was lucky enough to catch up with one of the stars of the game today. So let's hear from Stephen Perofeta.
Right, so I'm here with All Black fullback Stephen Perofeta. How did you enjoy that first test against England?
Yeah, it was a pretty tough battle. Speed and intensity was much higher than I expected, but I really enjoyed the occasion.
I've just got a confession to make. We actually bet against you. We bet on England, and it's not my fault. It was all Marc Ellis's idea.
Who's this Marc Ellis?
You don't know who Marc Ellis is?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
So Perofeta was basically saying he had no idea who you were.
Oh, fair enough. Well, he would have been born, mate, when I was playing.
He mustn't own a TV.
Can I just say, like, so we put some money, and it was my responsibility to put some bets on. Macca convinced me to go to put money on England, who lost. And then to put money on Switzerland in the Euros because they were playing England, and we lost money there. So fortunately, I put some money on Sevu Reece to be the first try scorer, so we're actually all square. So this week we're going to go. We've got All Blacks 127, England at $3.50. What do you reckon, Macca?
I can go England again, and the only reason is because you hedge your bets, right? So I don't know whether I explained
isn't the
this
idea?
Before,
Yeah, you did, but isn't the idea to make money?
Well, no, the idea is not to make a fool of yourself, right? So if the All Blacks win and you get overexcited, you're going to make a prick of yourself. But if the All Blacks win and you put money on England, you're going to be less excited than the other people. So you'll just keep your cool. You know what I mean? It's just a natural hedge for behaviour.
And then Netherlands in the Euros against England. So we got a bet on Netherlands. Any good bets from you, Matty? You're not scared of a bet?
Oh, yeah, I love gambling. Look, whoever the Wallabies are playing, bet against them.
Bet against the Wallabies?
Yeah.
And dogs, mate. If you're picking a dog, always pick the blue and white hoop, number 2. Because if they get out good, they've got a good chance because they're running a tighter line. If they're paying between $5 and $10, I always put it on the nose on the blue and white hoop dog.
Stop, because our sponsor's the TAB.
You'll love this, Rick. He had a ducks, and he had dancing ducks, right? You know, so he'd set up outside. You know, when the band the show comes to town, he'd be up outside with his dancing ducks, right? And people would be dropping money, and these things would go. You'd play a tune, it'd be soft, and then they'd start flapping around and jumping and squealing when the crescendo came in. He's making money hand over fist. And they found out he had a hot plate underneath them.
Wow.
He just turned it up when the music started crescendoing. I mean, it's not good. You can't do those things these days.
Not these days.
You can't do them back then either.
I tell you what, boys.
No, he got caught. He went to the magistrate.
Okay.
I got a story for you, boys, that my best mate told me about Doug Howlett, right? So my best mate's an Irishman called Brian Carney, and I met him when we played at Wigan. It was quite unbelievable. He was a Gaelic footballer and a hurling player, and he saw State of Origin and thought, I can play that. Anyway, 2 or 3 seasons later, he's playing at Wigan. Anyway, I got him to come out and play at Newcastle, and he was brilliant. He got Dally M Winger of the Year. And then he got an offer to go back to Irish Rugby Union, which he did, and they put him in Munster. He played at Munster. Anyway, there was this old guy who was the team manager at Munster, and he ran the local video store. Anyway, it was announced that Dougie Howlett was coming, and the old bloke was like, Jesus Christ, the great Doug Howlett. I love this guy, you know, he's fantastic, you know. Anyway, what the boys used to do, this bloke, every time he arrived, a new player, he'd say, free membership to the video store, anything you want, come in, free videos for you and the family. Anyway, he was just so chuffed. He went to Dougie and said, mate, listen, I want you in the video. Come in, I'll look after anything you want, all good. So my mate Brian Carney ran the video store and spoke to the old goat. He goes, hey, g'day, mate, how are you? It's Dougie Howlett. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is great Doug Howlett. Doug, what can I get for you? He said, listen, can I just have a conversation with me and you? Mate, have you got any porno videos there? And he goes, excuse me? He goes, I'm after some pornos. Anyway, the old bloke ran the club and said, Jesus Christ, I just had a call from Dougie. He's after the hard stuff. And my mate said, Dougie, you just find it quite as funny.
You probably should get Dougie on after that.
Welcome to Ireland.
Mind you, I mean, I'm sure Doug won't mind me saying this, and this is the difference between Otago and Auckland. Sorry, I've just dropped something down the room. Between Otago and Auckland rugby, and it was I ended playing for Auckland, and he was coming out of the shower one day, and like we were all just getting changed, and he slipped into a G-string. And I said to the boys, I whistled the change room to a stop and said, shit, fellas, it's because of that, you know, and they all looked at me like I was weird. And I went, well, maybe I'm a bit long in the tooth. It's time to hang up the boot. So that was literally my last season playing footy.
Right.
Oh, man.
That was enough for you.
Well, it's Auckland, difference between Auckland and Otago, mate. I don't reckon you're going to find any of the Otago teams slipping into a G-bag, put it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Macca, tell us about Italy. How have you settled in? What are you doing?
Oh, mate, I'm just loitering. As I said, there was a bit of running with the constabulary last night, but everything's good now. I'm just going to stay in the Airbnb. I may not go to the beach today. Something to do with speedos. Just sitting on the roof because the apartment I'm staying in is pretty bloody ordinary, and people are still sleeping.
I went with my wife to Italy last year, right? So we turn up there, we have a night on the town, and she can speak fluent Italian. I'm sitting.
There's a lady sunbathing up on this top roof.
Oh, fantastic!
Give us Zoom in.
She just got away.
Get the fire engine out. Get the fire engine out.
I can't get in trouble with the Cabaneri 2 days in a row.
So we go out, and anyway, one of those young Italian blokes comes over and he says to me, hey, I'm trying to impress this girl, and you're a sort of muscular guy. Can we have an arm wrestle and you let me win? And I said, yeah, good as gold. What's in it for me? He said, I'll buy you a couple of drinks. Yeah, good as gold. So anyway, we sit down to do the arm wrestle, and I wink at him. Anyway, grabs my arm and and just slams it down. I tear my bicep right on this bloke. So anyway, he's as good as gold. He shouts me drinks all night. Anyway, I go back to the hotel and I'm very, very drunk. And there's a pattern forming here and there. I'm very, very drunk at the hotel. Anyway, it's I don't know if you blokes are ever to do it. I'm in the nick and I walk out. And it's one of those hotels nearly you've got to lock it from the outside. It just doesn't sleep shut. Anyway, I suddenly find myself out in the corridor of the hotel, totally in the nick. Anyway, I'm disorientated. And I go, well, where's the room? And here it is here. So I open up and I walk in, and you wouldn't believe it. I walk into the room and there's a bloke laying next to my wife in the bed. So I've gone, Jesus, what's happened here? So I go down, I shake him. And I said, mate, what are you doing? I look over, and it's not Trish. I've just walked into another room.
Well, I mean, obviously you've got a much better memory than Macca, because we have to play bits of the old show so Macca can remember it. So this is a bit from the old show. This is why we ended and how we ended it. This is the official end of the Hyundai Sports Cafe for the last. Fuck! Hold on. Hey, for God's sake! Hold on. Hey, we got the full emotional rap. What I'd like to say is the official end of the Hyundai Sports Cafe. It's a very emotional time for us all. We've had some good times and some bad times. We've worked with some true professionals and some true legends. Ladies and gentlemen.
You know how expensive storage is, mate. If you'd stored that for 14 years, it would have cost you hundreds of thousands.
Isn't it a shame, boys? Like those shows, I was on that footy show for years. Like those shows, that irreverence and just fun. I mean, it's so sensitive these days. People are just so sensitive, you can't do it. But, mate, I've been watching a lot of the YouTubes of that show. Geez, mate, what a hoot.
Well, it was supposed to be a serious sports show, but it sort of got hijacked a little bit. I mean, we've actually got a political correctness advisor. That's what Anthony.
Oh, thank you.
That's what Anthony's friend Aaron is doing here, just to advise us we were getting it wrong.
I've only known him 3 weeks, so I'll give him that one.
I got the first letter right.
Yeah.
So it's a different time, mate, and we've got to adapt. We can't. We've got to sort of adapt with the modern times.
Oh, I got to watch this.
It's super interesting now because there's no BSA or any company to really stop you from doing the stuff on social media. It's still only
just you.
TV. Yeah, exactly.
Just you stopping us.
I'm more educating or edutainment, as some people call
it.
Educate
exactly.
for entertainment.
Got away with it.
So we're looking at two of the people that are probably the worst behaved people in television history, Matty Johns and Marc Ellis.
And proud of it.
Yeah, and very proud of it. I mean, we've got through this whole show so far without mentioning your brother, Matty, so that's a good start.
Yeah. We haven't spoken for quite a while. It's almost the anniversary of where we fell out because we're on radio together, and I rapped Billy Slater. I said, what? God, he's going to be an outstanding coach, and I could see him getting stroppy, so I started doubling down, saying, great thing about Queensland, mate, he'd already had an idea about, what the side's going to look like, and Joey was on the coaching staff in New South Wales. And he said, well, what are you saying? We don't? And I said, oh, no, I don't. I said, to be honest, I don't think you and the coaching staff got any idea what you're doing. And he walked out of the radio show, and he's never been back. And we still haven't spoke, which is, mate, I'm enjoying the break.
Did he not know you were taking the piss, or you were being serious?
Well, Mark, call me mean-spirited, but I was actually being serious.
He's a sensitive wee soul, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Not really a people person, my brother.
So we've got this thing on the show that's been widely embraced by everyone, all the presenters, where we try and talk about something positive. We just celebrate. Lots of shows run things down, criticise. So I start the ball rolling. There's two things that really stood out for me this week. One was when the lady was singing the South African national anthem. It was going so well with the crowd. She just stopped and she just let the crowd sing, which I thought was awesome. And then the other one was, I'm a bit of a Yankees fan, and the rookie Ben Rice hit 3 home runs in one game. And first rookie in Yankees history ever to hit 3 home runs. And so they have a thing called the curtain call where the fans just keep screaming. You just have to go out and dip your cap. And he didn't know what to do because he was so new to the game, and all the players are screaming at him, go out and do a curtain call, and he didn't know what to do. Macca, what have you prepared for the show? What have you done to sort of come to some sort of incredibly inspirational, positive piece of news this week?
Well, mate, it's not as amusing as your story, but I've just been catching up with my delightful daughters I haven't seen for a long time over here in Italy. So to have all my kids in the same place and to be able to head to the beach and have a bit of a swim and some nice meals and some good company, that's heartwarming, and that's what life's all about, isn't it? You're not going to care too much about what car you drove or what house you lived in when you take your final breath. It's how much time you spend with the people you loved. And so there you go. That's me being as serious as I can.
I'm getting a lot of credit card charges from Portofino on my credit card. Is that you?
Well, look, there's some lovely, as I said, I'm taking the kids out for lunch and we're going to one or two of the nice beaches, and I've racked up a couple of things. The good news from your perspective, bad news from mine, is that the cops have got my passport, my wallet, and in that is your card. So that'll probably be another charge coming my way.
Oh, that's good. Welcome to Italy.
Yeah. And just don't say anything, mate. I'll promise I'll pay you back. But if they got wind of the fact that the credit card in there's yours and not mine, it's going to be even more problem. I can't leave. I'm stuck here for a while.
Oh, it's a nice place to be. What about you, Matty? Anything that's happened this week that made you feel good? Or
Yeah, actually. I went down to my local yesterday and they extended happy hour by an hour.
Happy 2 hours now.
Yeah, happy 2 hours.
Happy 2 hours.
That's good news.
And you spend a bit of time over here too, don't you, mate?
I do. I'll be over there in a couple of weeks. Would you believe that News Limited over here are sending me over as a reporter to the Olympics, Paris Olympics? Yeah, that'll be. I know, mate.
I'll enjoy that.
Have you been to an Olympics before?
Only when Sydney had it, I ducked over, had a day there. But, gee, I tell you what, mate, when the Sydney Olympics were on, it was just insane. In Sydney, it was crazy. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
They reckon that it turns into one hell of a party once your event's over, doesn't it?
Oh,
So
yeah.
But it's a bit like going to the MCG these days, I went over there to watch the Boxing Day test because it's just so good.
Yep.
And, mate, they're only serving 2.5% beer.
Oh, Scarfy, honestly, you go to the SCG, right? And unless you're in the members, the same thing. You can only have light beer. You can only have 2 at a time. If you do anything really dangerous, like do one of those cup snakes, then you get thrown out. You throw beach balls around, you get thrown out. It's ridiculous.
See, but the delineation between the toffs, they're allowed to drink full strength alcohol, but the plebs, I mean, that's the most offensive bit. I'd be up in arms saying when it's now a class thing.
Yeah.
The rich elite are allowed to drink high alcohol beer, but you bloody normal folk, you're not. We don't trust you, but we trust them.
Right.
All right. Drink responsibly, people.
I get the idea. So the world is in political turmoil. We've got climate change. Everything's falling apart. But let's worry about beer at SCG and MCG. Is that right?
Yeah,
You care about the things you can fix, right?
That's where you sneak a bottle of vodka down your strides.
No, let's not ever do that again.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Can we find some titles to finish the show, please? Can we just stop?
Be on a roll.
Well, I don't think it was a good idea having you two on together.
Mate, I flogged a couple of shot glasses down the old stride.
Stop. Titles. Finish the show now.
How do we hang up on the
vodka
Zoom here?
tequila burns, man.
Yeah.
You deserve your shot glass if you put it there in your undies. You've earned it.